Philadelphia. I was here last Saturday night. I'm going to take probably 1/5 of my 5 minutes because you're going to hear so many intelligent, important comments from these wonderful people I'm with. I got to tell you, I mentioned coming here, my greatest memory of all of my travels comes from here. When many years ago, in front of a large crowd like this, I mentioned how proud I was to be on WNTP AM at 980, and then the entire audience yelled out 990. And my rejoinder was, I'm Jewish, I can get it for you for 980. For whatever, citing your own funny line is not a great idea, but I am so proud of that line. Where else am I going to tell you? In fact, it's worth bouncing off for a moment because there are so many large themes that we'll all get to. But I always like to react to something that's specific to the moment. And hearing the mention, 2 out of 3 mentions of Israel and support for Israel and the amount of applause, the sustained applause that you gave, it's every Jew who is conservative in the United States, all 12 of us, by the way, that is a joke, by the way, it is. It's not true. If you go to a Republican Jewish Coalition meeting, you are with thousands of people. Obviously, we're the minority. And we do live in a state of cognitive dissonance. We do. Where do you hear the most sustained support for Israel? And it will not be at a Jewish meeting. It will be at a conservative meeting overwhelmingly composed of non-Jews. And that's the fact of life. You are a living example of that fact. And why that has happened, I'll tell you my theory, and it is a theory that goes to the heart of this election. My column 2 weeks ago was, the most dynamic religion in the world is ... And I wrote, it is, for the last 100 years, it has not been Christianity, unfortunately. It has not been Islam. It has been leftism. Leftism has been the most dynamic religion in the world, not just the Western world, in the last 100 years. This election is really about whether or not that takes over our society. It has taken over Western Europe. The question is, it has taken over much of Latin America. Will it take over our society? It's taken over this university. This university has a religion. It's leftism. And people who believe in it, and in their various incarnations, whether it be feminism or environmentalism or socialism or neo-Marxism or you name the ism, these people believe in it with the same fervor that a committed Christian believes in Christianity, a religious Jew believes in Judaism, etc. That is the question. We have a president who believes in leftism. This is not an attack. This is not a caricature. It's just a fact. That's where his value system lies. And we have the opportunity to say, no, we are not going the way of Western Europe. We don't want Sweden West. We want to remain in the United States of America. That is what this election is about. Is it the most important of our lifetime? I think so, but I'm sure that people have said that for every election, and to a certain extent it is always true. The elections are very significant. But this one is not merely, do you choose candidate Obama or candidate Romney? This is a referendum on what values will dictate the future of the United States. And in a nutshell, they are. Whether or not we continue to hold what I call the American Trinity, and that is liberty, in God we trust, e pluribus unum, or do we hold what leftism holds? Not liberty, but egalitarianism, not in God we trust, but a secular society which removes God as much as possible from its anchor, and multiculturalism instead of from one many, or from many one, excuse me, so like Al Gore. That is really what it is about. And it is worth memorizing that and explaining, because we need to explain in a nutshell. That's why I have this 5-minute courses at Prager University on the internet. In 5 minutes, we can, in fact, change lives. Which do you want? Is liberty more important, or is egalitarianism? An example, in Norway. Norway legislates the number of women who will be on the boards of directors of major companies. Because in Norway, egalitarianism is more important than liberty. Do we go that way, or do we not? That is the question. Are we a God-centered, God-based society, or not? You can be an atheist and know that God is important. If God is not the source of values, this is what our founders knew. If God isn't the source of our values, who will be? The state? Do you really believe that? Do you want the state to be the source of your liberty and of your values? This is the question that is being posed. And finally, the multiculturalism, e pluribus unum. This university, University of Pennsylvania, this distinguished university, is guided by a different Trinity. And with this, I will end my opening comments. Trinities govern the world. It's a very interesting thing. There's the Christian Trinity, God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. There is the American Trinity of liberty, e pluribus unum, and in God we trust. And then there is the leftist Trinity, which is the way your kids learn life: race, gender, class. Mm-hmm. That's the Trinity that governs this institution wherein we sit now. That is how they look at life, through the prism of race, gender, and class. Do I have 30 seconds? No. 20? 10? No. That's the issue. Thank you very much.